It prevents transmission. Then they said, oh, the vaccine was never intended to prevent transmission. It's safe and effective. Effective is debatable, but there were certainly vaccine side effects, and you don't need to be a conspiracy theorist. There were at least minor side effects that were not widely reported until more recently. Let's go on. Remember when it was a conspiracy theory, quote-unquote lab leak theory? You know, remember when Jon Stewart went on and said, guys, it came from right outside of a biolab in China? That was crazy, conspiratorial disinformation. Now, it's commonly accepted. Welcome back. It is Thursday afternoon here. I'm your host, JJ Michaels. Been gone for a few days. We'll talk about that in a minute. What you just heard in that clip at the top, that's something I'm going to say later in the show. So we're time traveling here, doing a little Inception thing. We're also doing video of this show. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this or not. I don't know if it's going to be distracting. Camera right over here. And I still really want to stay focused on the podcast aspect of this. So if you're listening to this on audio only, you're not missing anything. But I am going to start doing video, at least experiment with it, for a couple of reasons. Number one, so that I can post clips on X.com, formerly known as Twitter. And that's one reason, because it doesn't let you do audio clips. So in order to do clips of the podcast, I have to have video. The other reason is because down the road, maybe that will be something that we would regret not doing if we didn't do it, if that makes sense. So I figure if we do video, we can always not use the video or remove the video later. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm just starting this episode, so if it becomes distracting to me, we'll stop doing it. So yeah, go to X, formerly known as Twitter, the X app, and go to JJ Michaels show to see some of the stuff we're posting. I think it'll be a good tie-in to what we're discussing today. What are we discussing today? I actually don't really have an agenda. I've been away for a few days, frankly, because the last episode where we talked about, Palestinian protests and these sort of things, it got like a little too much for me. And it just made me not want to think about this stuff for a while. We're supposed to be observing the news and consuming it, not being consumed by it. And I felt like I was getting a little consumed by it because I was getting upset. Let's get back to observing. So we're going to ease our way back in with an episode featuring the world famous TPS report, the Political Spectrum Report. Let's get started with it. I am drinking iced coffee, by the way, made, of course, with my Breville Express machine, not sponsored by Breville. So when I tell you this is the best espresso machine that you can get, you know that it's true. I don't have affiliate links or anything like that. Nobody sponsors the JJ Michaels show. We're totally independent. Now, they could sponsor us, and if they did, I would tell you, but they don't. And it does just happen, by the way, that these machines they're on sale for like $550 right now, off of their normal $700. So I'm just telling you, I highly recommend it. It's a great espresso machine, and the ice is melting a little bit on this one, but I like to do the espresso right over the ice, as I've already shared, and then that keeps the crema on top, and then cold filtered water, and then mix in some half and half. The one I'm drinking right now is actually just leftover coffee from a couple hours ago that I poured over ice. It's still good. It's still good. Okay. The other thing that I like about the idea of potentially doing video is that when we do this and we go through these articles, it might be nice for me to clip in some of what I'm looking at for you guys. So I am going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a QuickTime. I'm going to use QuickTime, just built into any old Mac. Okay, we're recording the screen. I could tell by the gray bars. So let's just jump in. Let's go to allsides.com. Now you can see what I'm looking at. So this is the website that I'm always telling you all about, allsides.com. And it says, don't be fooled by media bias and misinformation. Don't be fooled. We don't get fooled. Okay. So I actually want to start with this one. Look right here. It says, bias alert. Olympic boxers spark gender eligibility controversy. The main Khalif won her Thursday fight in 46 seconds. I mean, this just happened earlier today. Recording this on Thursday. Maybe we're going to post it tonight. Let's post it tonight. So this is interesting. So media bias alert. Olympic boxers spark gender eligibility controversy. And this is the all sides summary. Boxers Lin Yuting of Taiwan and Amin Khalif of Algeria were cleared to compete in this year's Olympics, a spokesperson said this week, despite being disqualified from last year's World Boxing Championships due to failed gender eligibility tests. Following Khalif's 46-second victory on August 1st today, some outlets on the right suggested the bout was unfair and pitted a female against a biologically male, that's the quotes are in there, opponent. What you know about this story likely depends on which sources you've read, and in this case, many aren't giving the full picture. So that's the all sides summary right here. Interesting. What is the full picture according to them? Truths diverge. So Khalif fought Angela Carini, didn't last long. Nobody denies this part. 46 seconds. Fight was stopped. Khalif prevailed when Italy's Angelina Carini stopped fighting after 46 seconds, according to USA Today, left-lean bias, which called the fight bizarre. USA Today said, Carini wept when speaking with reporters after the fight and spoke only in Italian. And that translation was not immediately available. What's bizarre? Is it bizarre that she spoke only in Italian? She is Italian. Is it bizarre that she wept? She is Italian. Sorry, that was probably a rude joke. It's a emotional situation, but they're emotional. Anyway, it added that Carini's coach said after one punch, she feel big pain. Conversely, Daily Mail, right, and others did highlight a translation of Carini's remarks. The boxer, Carini, the female boxer. I'm used to suffering. These are her remarks. I'm used to suffering. I've never taken a punch like that. It's impossible to continue. I'm nobody to say it's illegal. I got into the ring to fight, but I didn't feel like it anymore after the first minute. I started to feel a strong pain in my nose. I didn't give up, but a punch hurt too much, and so I said, enough. I'm leaving with my head held high. The Daily Mail also translated more remarks from Carini's coach. I don't know if her nose is broken. I have to speak with the girl, but many people in Italy tried to call her and tell her, don't go, please. It's a man. It's dangerous for you. Here's what they're talking about in case you don't know. This Algerian fighter was banned from international boxing competition by the IBC because there were complaints, and they did testing which determined abnormally high testosterone, and then they did some sort of genetic analysis which determined that this boxer has X and Y chromosomes, which are only found in biological males. That's why the fighter was banned from international boxing competition by the IBC, International Boxing Commission. Now, the thing is, the IBC, for unrelated reasons, for the first time, is not overseeing Olympic eligibility this year. So the Olympic eligibility was determined by the IOC, the International Olympic Committee. So that should get you up to speed if you haven't been following this story. A fighter from Algeria who had been banned from boxing by the International Boxing Commission because of being found to have XY chromosomes and being biologically male and therefore not allowed to fight biological females, is fighting in the Olympics, had technical knockout in their first fight of this Italian boxer in 46 seconds. Let's get back to the story. Daily Mail focused comments from Carini's camp and positioned them as evidence that the fight was unfair. USA Today didn't. So what all sides is doing is they're bias alert. They're trying to say that one side is spinning it this way, the other side is spinning it this way. Daily Mail is spinning it from the perspective of the Italian fighter. USA Today is not. In its opening lines, the Mail described the fight as one of the most controversial bouts ever, says All Sides, and noted that Carini fell to the canvas sobbing. That is true. Multiple sources reported that Carini yelled out, "This is unjust," as she abandoned the fight. Similarly, BBC News wrote that just before Khalif's arm was raised by the referee, Carini could be heard on the camera saying it's not right. I'm confused about where the bias is here. Maybe what they're saying is, I'm just scrolling through now. Yeah, I already explained what they explain here, which is that the question arises from different eligibility requirements. Now, the Olympic Committee continues to say that Khalif is eligible according to their eligibility, but I haven't seen them explain what that is. The International Boxing Association requires, if there's a reason to do testosterone testing, they require you to submit to it. And they also, in some cases, as they did here, do chromosome tests. Okay, so I don't know. What's your opinion on this? To me, it seems like, especially in boxing, somebody who is biologically male, it is very dangerous for them to be fighting biological female. I don't really understand what the controversy is here, to be totally honest with you, in saying that, right? That's a controversial position. This has nothing to do with being transphobic or transgender rights or anything like this. In fact, this particular fighter doesn't even identify as trans or intersex or any of these sort of things. What we have here is a fighter who has biological male chromosomes, certainly looks like a dude. Watch the clips. He's a strong guy or person, whatever you want to say, and is boxing against I was going to say an ordinary woman. She's an athlete. She's an Olympic athlete. Either of them could probably beat the crap out of me. I'm sure of that. But took a hit that I couldn't have taken. That's for sure, from a biological male. I'm curious what y'all think about that. Let's move on to another subject here. So, okay, enough on that. So let's just do some from the center, from the left, from the right stuff. Let's scroll down here. Okay, so this is the feed that I normally use, you can see. So let's go from the left. Meta's AI apparently said the shooting at the Trump rally didn't happen. Here's what ChatGPT and Claude said. This is from Business Insider. Light blue L, moderate left, leans left, I think is what they call it. So Meta is Facebook. So what this is there's some sort of AI glitch on Facebook that listed the Trump assassination as misinformation when someone posted a photo of the Trump with the fist. Here's what Meta says about it. Meta says the AI was initially programmed to not answer questions about the assassination attempt against Trump, the company said. AI chatbots often struggle with real-time updates on breaking news. We tested ChatGPT and Claude on Wednesday. They also had issues. These are two, ChatGPT probably. Claude is also a publicly available large language artificial intelligence. They also had issues accurately responding to the prompts about the incident. Okay, I mean, I'm willing to accept that. I don't think that Facebook was deliberately programming their AI to whitewash the assassination attempt on Trump. News from the center. 2024 Olympics sees its eco-friendly goals face accusations of greenwashing. I don't know what greenwashing is. Let's look it up. What is greenwashing? Greenwashing, also called green sheen, is a form of advertising or marketing spin that deceptively uses green PR and green marketing to persuade the public that its organization's products, goals, or policies are environmentally friendly. So greenwashing, I guess, is deceptively marketing yourself as environmentally friendly, presumably when you aren't, right? If you are, then I guess that wouldn't be deceptive. So this means when you're not. Let's see what All Sides summarizes this story as, the story being From what? Where's the story from? Let's click read full story and see where it's from. So the original story comes from san.com. I don't know what that is. I think it might be Straight Arrow News. I don't know what okay, Straight Arrow News. Oh, there it is. Straight Arrow News, Media Bias Rating Center. Straight Arrow, straight as an arrow. So I guess it's like some non-biased news source. Interesting. Anyway, Paris 2024 Summer Olympics have been promoted as the most eco-friendly games ever. However, experts are raising concerns about the effectiveness of these sustainability commitments, calling them greenwashing. You know what? I'm sorry. I just don't care. Next. AI is left-wing and biased against conservatives, study confirms. I don't care. Next. It's all about to be official. DNC roll call begins to make Kamala Harris nominee. We all knew this was happening. Some people were speculating that maybe Kamala wouldn't actually be the nominee. I don't see that. Anyway, it's happening. Middle. Study shows trust in doctors fell during COVID-19 pandemic. Now we're talking. Now, why would that be? Why would trust in doctors fall during the COVID-19 pandemic? Was there anything that doctors were saying or doing that turned out not to be true? Let's see what the study says. The number of people who trust doctors dropped steeply during the COVID-19 pandemic, a new study says. Worse, those who lost their faith in medicine are less likely to get vaccinated against COVID or the flu, researchers found. Here's the quote. By the way, this article comes from UPI, United Press International, ranked as center by all sides. Here's the quote from lead researcher Dr. Roy Perlis, a medical doctor. Trust in physicians and hospitals can be critical for public health, and restoring the trust that was lost during the pandemic will need to target multiple possible contributors to mistrust, says Dr. Perlis. Well, let's click and see what the good doctor here says contributed to the mistrust. Proportion of adults reporting a lot of trust for doctors served in hospitals decreased from nearly 72 to 40%. Trust in doctors, people saying they have a lot of trust in doctors. 72% of them said that in April of 2020, only 40% January of this year. And greater trust also increased odds that a person, I mean, obviously this is correlated to vaccine mandates, the vaccine requirements. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that was said about the vaccine that turned out not to be true. It prevents transmission. Then they said, the vaccine was never intended to prevent transmission. It's safe and effective. Effective is debatable, but there were certainly vaccine side effects, and you don't need to be a conspiracy theorist. There were at least minor side effects that were not widely reported until more recently. Let's go on. Remember when it was a conspiracy theory that the quote-unquote lab leak theory? Remember when Jon Stewart went on and said, guys, it came from, the vaccine was identified first right outside of a biolab in China. It's not crazy to suggest that at least maybe it came from that lab. That was Jon Stewart. Hey, that was crazy conspiratorial disinformation. Now it's commonly accepted, even Fauci. So trust was eroded. If your trust in doctors and the FDA and the CDC has not been negatively impacted, I don't care, left, right, center, as a result of the mishandling of the COVID pandemic, then I don't know what to tell you. Let's move on. All right, so that's probably pretty good here. That's probably pretty good. This is enough for today. I don't know about the video. I really don't know. Finding it a tiny bit distracting. Maybe it's because I'm using my phone and I thought I put myself in airplane mode and I got some notifications throwing me off a little bit. Guys, let me know what you think. Probably you're listening to this. No one's ever seen this on video before. All of our subscribers are audio-only subscribers. So if you found, other than me just talking about the video, maybe that's distracting. But if I felt distracted and off to you today, let me know. We won't do it again. or maybe we'll try to prove it. I have no idea. Appreciate you guys. Listen, we will talk tomorrow. I have some other things I want to talk about. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. The Kamala Harris news is coming in hot. I'm just not sure how interested I am in discussing it. Likewise, JD Vance. I want to try and find some things that are relevant to you guys that are not being beaten to death. Let's find out if we can find some of those. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye. See you tomorrow.